Hey guys, this is Chromastone10, and today I'm going to be walking you through the Beast from Beyond Easter egg and giving you some tips and tricks along the way. Before we jump into the game, I'll give you some Fate and Fortune card recommendations. The first time doing the boss, I only used Fate cards in case some people might not have many Fortune cards, but I will suggest some Fortune cards that are useful in the boss fight. First, with the Fate cards I used were Shop Class for a free 200 points, Mana Up to heal faster, Scope Dollars and Eagle Eyed for some extra points, and whatever last card you want, it doesn't matter. For the last card I would probably recommend Scorching Skin or 5-second Muscle. Actually 5-second Muscle would be pretty good against the mammoths near the end of the boss fight. This is what I used for the first time to do the boss fight, but if you do have some Fortune cards, the two I recommend, either both of them or just one or the other depending on what you have, are the Evade card and the Hide and Seek card. Evade pretty much gives you exo dodging movement from Advanced Warfare, and it is super helpful. And Hide and Seek is also super helpful for either doing the terminals or if you get red screened, but both these cards aren't required. Now that our cards are set up, we can jump into the game. Now some tips for round 1. First, I buy Up and Adams right away. Then I like to camp up on this ledge up here across from Up and Adams until round 3. Be careful with your reloads while up here. You also have one grenade in your grenade launcher, but I recommend not using this as it will be helpful for a later step. If you are using the Shop Class Fate and Fortune card, you can activate it as soon as you get it. Make sure you do it at a safe time though, so cryptids aren't jumping up. On round 3, you want to keep checking your scoreboard until you have exactly 36 cryptids. When you have 36, that means you have one more cryptid left for that round. So keep him alive so you can grab Neil's head to turn on power. I like to grab the fuses on the way by shooting this box and grabbing them out when I run by. Another tip I can recommend is to zigzag back and forth with the last cryptid. It makes it harder for him to hit you, as you can see me do here. Then I head into the main room and drop down into the pit and land on the green ledge. Grab Neil's head, then drop down and head back to the spawn room and place it in the computer. Now we want to get the Entangler gun. To get this, you have to complete the first 2 skulls for Ghosts and Skulls. To get the first skull, you need to find an electrical box in one of 3 locations, which I will show you now. One location is in the cargo room up on this pillar above the stairs. On a pillar to the left of bomb stoppers, and above this doorway where you drop down to get Neil's head. The box can only be opened with explosives, so a tip I use is to use the ARX grenade launcher. Just hold triangle or Y, depending on what system you're on, to switch to the grenade launcher and shoot the box. If you don't have the ARX or already use the grenade launcher, cooking a grenade and throwing it at the box right before it explodes works too. It's just the ARX grenade launcher is much easier. Then simply shoot the first skull to collect it. Now we can move on to the next skull. In the cargo room there will be 4 red X's on the ground. One of the X's will be on the balcony when you first enter the room. Make sure to hit the button to activate the laser to open the portal when you first enter the cargo room. One will be on the ground near the zombie window on the right hand side of the room. One will be on the cargo containers on the left hand side of the room. And one will be on the opposite side of the room under the balcony with the portal near the edge. Simply stand on any red X and defend from that spot. I always stand on the X over the cargo containers. In co-op, you will need all players in the game to stand on the X's around the room to activate the skull. You can't leave the spot until the skull is done. The skull will rise into the air, and once it's completed, it will go to a random spot around the room where you will need to jump and grab it. If you are having trouble defending the circle you're standing on, feel free to go another round so you can buy quickies and bang bangs to make the step a little easier, but it isn't really needed. I've been able to do it just fine with the ARX, just be careful with your reloads and make sure you're watching your surroundings. Once the skull is done, you'll hear a whoosh noise indicating that it went around the room somewhere, so quickly check the room and try to grab it before it can disappear. I run over and just jump and grab it, and once I do, you will see that the entangler spawns in the middle of the room. Drop down and grab the entangler. It will be added as a gun to your D-pad, so you don't need to worry about it getting rid of a gun. Now head to the portal in the cargo room. While going up the stairs, make sure to grab the part for the Pack-a-Punch bridge. Be careful when grabbing these parts because they can randomly spawn 3 cryptids in. Once you've taken care of any cryptids, if you had any, head into the portal to the movie theater. There will be a few things we want to do while we are in here. First, place the fuses we got earlier in the hands of the cardboard Bigfoot cutout. Next, head into the arcade area and grab the film reel sitting on the concession stand. The fuses and the reel will be needed for double Pack-a-Punch. Now, head out into the street and grab the second Pack-a-Punch bridge piece. Once again, be careful of any cryptids that might spawn. Also buy the KBS longbow if you're using scope dollars and eagle-eyed. Once you're done, head back into the cargo room to move on to the next step. For the next step, we'll be finding 4 floppy disks that go in a specific order for Neil. The first floppy disk is very simple. You will simply head under the stairs after leaving the cargo room and look down the red hall. The floppy disk will be in the middle. Simply grab it with the entangler and launch it to the end of the hall. If you see a puff of white smoke, that should mean it worked. The floppy disk will now be at a vent. There are a few different vent locations that the floppy disk can come out of. The floppy disk can come out of these 2 vents in the middle of the hall. It can come out of this vent in the corner after going up the stairs right here. It can come out of this vent near the stairs leading to Bang Bangs right here. And in the kitchen area, it can come out of this vent right there. And the last one is the vent in the spawn room to the left of the magic wheel, which is where it happened to be in my game. Now we are going to move on to the next floppy disk. This one will be in the med bay. What you want to do is grab a space helmet lying around the map with the entangler. I grabbed this one right on my way to the med bay. Head over to the med bay while carrying the helmet. I placed down the helmet to open the door. You can open the door beforehand. If you drop the helmet, make sure it isn't close to a wall or it will burn up and you will have to go back and pick it up where it originally was. Once you open the med bay, simply head over to the laser blocked room and aim at the green TV in the back right corner and launch your helmet at it to shut off the grid. If you miss, there are more helmets around the map. There's a lot of them in the spawn room, so don't worry about missing. I ended up missing my first shot for whatever random reason, so I grabbed another space helmet in the kitchen area, brought it back to the med bay, and when you launch it at the TV and it actually breaks the TV, the grid will shut off and you'll have access to the second floppy disk. I forgot to do this, but after opening the floppy disk room, head down the stairs leading to Blue Bolts and grab the last Pack-a-Punch piece. Again, be careful of any cryptids that spawn in. I killed the last zombie on round 5 to go to round 6, so I could use my scope dollars and eagle-eyed card to get some money to open up the rest of the map. I kept a zombie on round 6 and opened up to Pack-a-Punch outside. When heading out to Pack-a-Punch, I like to go through the door near the vent where we got the first floppy disk. This will be helpful for carrying Neil's head during a later step. Now build the Pack-a-Punch bridge. There is another floppy disk on the ground on a post behind Pack-a-Punch. I like to pick this one up as it's the furthest away from Neil, so I don't have to run all the way back here. Next, I head into the Pack-a-Punch room and place the reel onto the projector. This will cause Spaceland footage to start playing for later. Now we leave the Pack-a-Punch room and head to spawn. When the 30-second Pack-a-Punch timer runs out, a phantom cryptid will spawn in. The first phantom you defeat will drop the last floppy disk somewhere in the room he was defeated. I like to unalive the phantom in the spawn room so he drops the floppy disk close to Neil's head. Once you have all 4 floppy disks unlocked, you now need to put them into Neil's computer slots in the correct order. The order changes each game, but there are papers around the map that show you the correct way to put the order in. All you have to do is remember the 4 symbols that you have and then find one of these pieces of paper that has your 4 symbols and put them in the computer in the order on that paper. Here are the scraps of paper locations. The first one is on the ladder area where we camped on round 1. You read it from top to bottom this way. The second scrap of paper is under the catwalk to the right of Up and Adams. Again, this one is read from top to bottom. The third and fourth scraps of paper are in the kitchen on this table. The far left paper matches with the middle paper. And the second piece of paper matches with the far right paper. And the last 2 scraps of symbols are in the main room up the stairs on some post-it notes on this console. What you want to do is find the scrap of paper that has all 4 symbols in your game and add the symbols to kneel in that order. So for example, in my game the 4 symbols I had on my floppy disks were the scary face, the letter A looking symbol, a broken pillar symbol, and triple mountain symbol. So I remembered the symbols, then looked at all the scraps of paper to see which one had my symbols from that game. The scrap of paper that had all 4 of my symbols was the second post-it note on the console. This could be different for you, and depending on what symbols you have. So reading the note from top to bottom, I knew that slot 1 on kneel would be the letter A looking symbol. The second slot on kneel would be the scary face symbol. The third slot on kneel would be the mountain symbol, and slot number 4 would be the broken pillar symbol. Now I just remembered the order and placed the symbols into their correct slot. You don't have to put them into kneel starting with number 1, you just need to make sure the floppy disks are in their correct number slot on kneel, depending on your piece of paper. If you put a floppy disk in the wrong slot, you will fail and have to retry again, but the symbols on the floppy disk will change to new symbols and you'll have to find a new scrap of paper to try again. Also, if you don't want to run around the entire map checking every piece of paper each game, a Reddit user by the name of Kenshin9977 made this helpful picture with all of the different paper symbols on one picture. If you would like to download this, I have the link in the description below. Once you add all the floppy disks into kneel in the correct order, he will become angry and he can start closing the doors around the map. Be careful if he starts doing this because the doors can squish and down you. Now that he is angry though, we want to head to the movie theater and grab a few things while we're here. When you first get into the movie theater, make sure to check and find out where your zombie is. If he's away from the movie screen, quickly activate the trap and then run away and pull out your entangler and shoot into the portal. This will grab the brute head from Spaceland, which is why we had to play the Spaceland footage earlier with the reel. With his head, you can bring it to you. His head actually goes through the wall, which is pretty funny. Just drop the brute head on the ground and you can pick it up. Now head over to the cardboard cutout of the brute and place the helmet on top of him. This will cause him to shoot a laser at the fuses to charge him up. Be careful if the zombie is nearby because this laser can kill the zombie and hurt you. Next, we want to pick up the fuses. Now go back over where the cardboard cutout is and look at the wall behind the brute. You should see a small red button. Use the entangler to grab this button, then walk it over to one of the Beast from Beyond movie posters in the arcade area. It doesn't matter which poster it is as long as it's a Beast from Beyond poster, then simply just shoot the button into the poster. If you did it correctly, you will see a little ripple effect. If the button didn't go in the poster correctly, you will see a red mist appear. You'll have to go grab the button and try again. Once you launch the button into the poster, now you want to head into the portal out in the street. This will lead you to the hallway near the med bay, which is where the button has teleported to. Simply go up to the desk where the floppy disk was, and under the desk the button will be there. Interact with the button, you should hear a noise. Doing this will open a puzzle that we must solve. Solving this puzzle is very simple. The goal is to get all the handles pointing in the same direction, either vertical or horizontal. It doesn't matter which one, you can pick whatever. In this game, for example, I picked the horizontal handles. All you need to do is look at the puzzle how it is before you interact with it, and remember the horizontal handles. And then just turn all the horizontal handles vertical from that original starting point. When you turn one of the handles, it will cause some other handles to spin, but you want to keep turning the handles that were horizontal when you first started. A tip I use to remember is to either take a screenshot or to shoot each horizontal handle so it has a bullet hole on it, so that way any handle with a bullet hole I know is one of the handles I need to turn. If you make a mistake and it doesn't work, just pretend like you were starting the step from the very beginning and start over from where the handles are at that moment. Once the puzzle is completed, Neil will be hacked for a short amount of time. Now our goal is to take Neil's head over to the Pack-a-Punch room. To do this, first head over to the door that leads outside. You want to make sure this door is open before grabbing his head. This is vital to doing this step correctly. Next, head over to the kitchen area. You're going to want to entangle Neil's head while standing in the kitchen. Make sure you're not standing in the doorway or it will crush you. So take out the entangler and grab his head from inside the kitchen. Now quickly head towards the door that leads outside. If you're doing this on a low round, all the zombies that spawn should be walkers. Now just hug the door that leads outside. Zombies will open the door when they get close to it, so try not to panic. I'm not sure if this is an exploit or not. Normally you have to follow Neil's head to where he's looking, but that always seems to get me killed. This seems to work well for me, but if it does get patched, then all you have to do is follow Neil's head the correct path. He'll pick a few random paths. Now just head inside the Pack-a-Punch room, take Neil's head over to this computer on the right hand side of the room, and drop him in it. And you are now ready to go into the boss fight. While you're in the Pack-a-Punch room, make sure to place the fuses inside the projector so you can double Pack-a-Punch. Now we want to get set up for the boss fight. The perks I recommend getting are Bang Bangs, Tough Enough, Up and Atoms, Quickies, and Racing Stripes. If you ran out of Up and Atoms while playing solo, I would recommend Deadeye Dewdrops or leave your 5th perk slot free, because inside the boss fight there are perk boxes and one of them is Up and Atoms, which you can grab if you are careful. The one gun you need for the boss fight is the Kendall 45 double Pack-a-Punched. For your second gun, I really recommend the Mauler. Two other guns that are good in the boss fight are the FHG and the Reaver, but just make sure one of those guns is the Kendall's double Pack-a-Punched. If you are having trouble finding the magic wheel, there is actually a screen in the spawn room with a little diamond on it that will show you where the magic wheel location is. If you don't see the diamond on the screen, that means the magic wheel is in the theater area. The theater also has a map that shows you where the magic wheel location is. You will also see a diamond on that map if the magic wheel is in the theater area. Once you are set up for the boss fight with double Pack-a-Punch Kendalls and a good secondary gun, again I really recommend the Mauler double Pack-a-Punched, interact with Neil in the Pack-a-Punch room and he will teleport you to the boss fight. Here I activate the evade card when I get in. As you can see, it gives me the exo dodging movement from Advanced Warfare. This laser will now start opening crates that will release rhinos at you. You will have to defeat 4 rhinos before moving on to the next phase. Just look at where the laser is aiming, and that is the next crate it will shoot at. Try to avoid this laser though, because it can hurt you and can down you in one shot. Once you defeat all 4 rhinos, we'll go into stage 2. There is an ammo crate inside the boss arena that interacting with will give you ammo for whatever gun you are holding out. Now the second phase will begin, where these portals will open and you will have to deal with a bunch of smaller cryptids. The Kendalls make this step very easy. After each phase, I like to grab ammo. Now it'll move on to the next phase, where the other side of the room will open up and another set of portals will open, sending more cryptids. This time there will also be phantom cryptids along with the normal cryptids. I like to camp in this crate right here and just shoot them as they funnel in. If you get overrun, you can also run back up into this crate on this ramp. This is another good camping spot. After the phase is done, I like to grab more ammo once again. Now all of the portals will be open and the laser will try to shoot at you now too. All you want to do for this is run in the path I do by running up these 2 ramps, dropping down and repeating this circle. You will do this until 3 terminals turn on around the room. I recommend using the hide and seek card. It's not needed, but it is very helpful for interacting with the terminals. Just try to listen to your characters closely, as they will give you a voice quote about terminals or consoles now being active.
Yes, a console!
Start at this terminal by this ramp, drop down and activate the second terminal. Here I activate my hide and seek card so I can interact with it, and then run across the room to the last terminal. This will shut off all the portals. Now just clear out any cryptids that are left and grab some more ammo. Here the rhino got really lucky and downed me, which is actually a good opportunity to show how you can come back to life. When you spawn in, you can grab these perk boxes right here, which will give you all your perks back. Then you can drop down and grab your guns from the lost and found. Now after activating all the terminals, it will start a 99-second countdown. All you need to do is survive this countdown. Simply just continue running around the room in the same path that you did waiting for the terminals to turn on, clearing out any cryptids that spawn in front of you. Unfortunately, I lost my evade card because I ended up going down, but it shows that you don't need it. It's just very helpful. The perk boxes will also spawn in every 5 minutes, so say you got your perks when you came back to life but ended up going down again. If you wait in the Afterlife arcade for 5 minutes, they will respawn. That's another tip. But luckily I only went down one time through this boss fight. If you're luckier than me, you shouldn't go down at all during the boss fight. Also another tip, when going up the ramp on this side of the room, you can quickly glance into the middle and see how much time is left on the console. Only do this if it's safe though. Also another tip, you can actually hear when the console is done counting down. It will be making a bunch of electrical noises. Once you hear this, that means you can interact with the console to begin the final phase of the boss fight. Interacting with the console will kill any cryptids you have on the level. It will make the room go dark and spawn in 2 mammoth cryptids. Make sure to grab some ammo and get ready for the final stage of the boss fight. Now the mammoth cryptids will have an insane amount of health, and damaging them enough will cause them to drop little pits of fire on the ground, so you only want to damage them in areas you can jump over. I like to shoot them when they drop down from this ledge right here, because I can jump over this fire later. I will also show you my path I take to damage them throughout the boss fight. So I like to head up the ramp here, make sure the 2 mammoths are following me, and I bring them down the hallway with the perks, and shoot them down here. Try to keep them against the left wall so I can walk around their fire if they drop any. Next I head into the middle through this crate here and shoot them while they come through that. Make sure you watch out for if they charge into you. If you get red screen, just make sure to run away from them until you're good. Then I run up this ramp over here and drop down. Wait for the mammoths to drop down as well and start shooting them. Then I run back up the ramp. Go down the same hall. Get around the fire. Repeat the same process, and I do this as much as I can. Then I go back through the middle crate, shoot them as they come through the middle crate, and then go around the back area. When I go right here too, I like to shoot them. I hug against this crate here and shoot them right there. Make sure to watch out for the portals. They'll open every few minutes, causing a few extra normal cryptids to spawn in. These guys can easily trap you, so when you're going down this hallway, make sure you just kill them and try not to worry about the mammoths. You can also shoot the mammoths when they drop down from that upstairs ledge with the perks, and just keep following this path. These guys will take like a good 10 to 15 minutes to kill, so you definitely want to keep the fire out of your path as much as you can. Only shooting them when they drop down from right here. Also, try not to damage the mammoths while you're going up a ramp. You don't want fire on the ramp blocking your path. I'm just going to fast forward the boss fight now, as it's just me running around the room for like 10 minutes shooting them. I will cut in if there's anything I need to mention. When the hallway with the perks has too much fire and it's unsafe to go down, I just drop off the ledge instead and continue around the circle shooting the mammoths.
Onto the pavement.
Once I defeat one of the mammoths, I like to train the other one around this little ramp here. I should have taken him around the room a couple more times to make sure he dropped all his fire, but the point still stands that when you have one left, you can just train him around this ramp. Make sure you don't beat the mammoth while there is normal cryptids on the map, because these cryptids will be able to hit you during the cutscene. So make sure you get rid of any smaller cryptids first before defeating the mammoth. another tip I found in the game at the very end. I didn't get to try it much, so maybe you can try it with your last mammoth. But right here, as you just saw me do, I jumped across the crate, but the mammoth fell down and I kept shooting him. But I ended up killing him in the middle of the crate, so I was unable to try it again. But once you finally defeat the mammoth, the cutscene will play, but this isn't the end of the Easter egg yet. Once the cutscene is over, you will be dropped down in front of the Pack-a-Punch. Head into the Pack-a-Punch room and place your soul key in the soul jar if you have done all the previous Easter eggs. This will unlock Director's Cut mode, and that is the end of the Easter egg. Thank you guys for watching this Beast from Beyond Easter egg guide. I hope everything was clear and concise all the way through. If you have any recommendations for what I can improve upon, please leave them in the comments below. If you would like to see more of these guides, also let me know. I am still working on some other projects, mainly the Kino trailer. Maybe a few other things, no spoilers here, but I will definitely be keeping you guys up to date on those in the future. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe or whatever, and I hope you guys have a great day, and good luck with the Easter egg.